Hey, what is up, everybody? It's Jack. Welcome back, and welcome to another episode of A Trash Talker Gets Owned. And it seems that the Call of Duty community just never really fails to amaze in a sense, simply because of the fact that, well, let's be real here. It's basically like it's like everybody seems to have an excuse for whenever they get their butt whipped, whether they're good or not. And this game right here is a prime example. You're going to see at the end of this game the brief little conversation I had with this one guy. Kind of sent me hate mail here and there. But by the way, shout out to Theater Mode because I was not recording. Go figure, I was not recording when this happened. And I had to go back into Theater Mode to record it and make this episode. And there are a few other times where where people have been trash talking me and they get owned, but this time was a little bit unique, and you'll see why. I mean, it's not like the craziest thing, but you'll see why. I mean, first of all, I wish I would have gone back to recent players in time, because you can only go back 50 players, but I wish I had gone back in time because this guy had a supposed combat record that was better than mine. He had a slightly higher score per minute in Team Deathmatch, if I recall, and a slightly higher KD ratio. And this also goes to show you that really, KD ratio and all that stuff really does not mean much. Stats really do not mean much, so the proof is in the pudding right here, guys. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. There's very few people, very few ways that stats mean anything. But when you're talking about pubs and everything like that, basic pubs, stats really don't mean much. But anyway, with that being said, this guy apparently had a problem with me using awareness. I mean, well, first of all, you guys know where I stand on sound whoring. I personally don't believe sound whoring belongs in the Call of Duty game, but especially in Team Deathmatch or in Free For All, for instance, if you're not using at least Dead Silence or Dead Silence and Awareness in combination, you are at a severe disadvantage, even with the nerf. And on this map right here, as you see, Redwood, you're going to see that this guy gets caught with his pants down a couple times in the same spot more than once, and seems like he really liked that spot for whatever reason, and I decided to use a Silence Kuda with, let's see, what is it, Quick Draw, Rapid Fire, and what was the third attachment? Quick Draw, Rapid Fire, and the Suppressor. So, long story short, if you have a problem with the class that somebody's running, you can do a few things. You can make a class to counter it, or you can make up the exact same class to basically be on the same level, on the same page as him, or her. So, and if you have further problems, you can always counter it by the gameplay, simply by the way you play, or you can do something else. Like, for instance, you can throw stuns at them, you can throw concussions, flashbangs, you name it. There's ways to counter everything. So, just the fact that, people are still complaining about the whole sound horn thing, it is what it is. I mean, if there's a problem, use the same class I am using and be on the same level in terms of class, so that way I wouldn't have an advantage over you, you wouldn't have an advantage over me. And then from there on out, it's all basically about gun skill and map knowledge. So, I really wish we would go back to the Black Ops 2 days where there was no sound whoring and the maps were the perfect size, the spawns were good. But at the same time, I also like to use the sound whoring because there are a lot of people that can camp pretty much anywhere in this game. It's so random, so many spots. The maps are actually a lot bigger than they were in previous Call of Duties. Well, except for maybe a few of the maps and ghosts, but you can get around them really quick. But at the same time, there's so many places you can go and just sit there. So I'm sure you guys know. You guys have played this game, obviously, if you're watching. And if there's a group of campers in a spot, I'm going to use the correct rushing route. I'm going to get to them by being silent, because there's no way you're going to be able to flank anybody if you don't have that silence and awareness, or at least dead silence. So, and if somebody is in a camping spot and they just sit there, and if they take one step and they're not using dead silence, you can hear them. And if you're close enough, and if they are using dead silence, you can still hear them slightly. So, you got to do what you got to do in this game. And the thing is, if you have a complaint, just change up your class. It's simple as that. That's why there's many class slots, and that's why there's so many different ways to go about it. It is what it is. I mean, what else is there to say, really? So, and there were many instances in this gameplay, if you can tell already, especially if you've played this game, and if you have experience with Black Ops 3. It's simple. I mean, you'll see by the rushing routes that I'm taking and the way the spawns are, you can look at the minimap and see how that's going. And you can basically see that you know, there's plenty of instances where, you know, people are too far thanks to the nerf that they made to awareness. People are still pretty far and there's no way I can hear them, but yet I still know where they are. And that all comes to basic map knowledge, map skill, and, you know, combination with gun skill. So that's what it is. So with that being said, in my opinion, Black Ops 2 is still one of the more perfect Call of Duties in terms of the size of the maps, the flow of the maps, the way they're built, and lack of sound whoring. So, you know, I mean, back in Black Ops 2, people used to send me hate mail, and they usually called me a piece of shit or something other than that. My favorite one is Drink Bleach. I wish I could show that to you guys, but I don't have my Xbox 360 anymore. But if they bring Black Ops 2 to the Xbox One, you know, within the next few years, I'm definitely gonna go back and play that. But you know, people would just find any other excuse, even ones that don't make sense. And it seems that even people that are decent at the game, or good at the game, so to speak, have the same problem. And one other thing I wanted to say is actually a few games later, there was another message sent to me in another lobby. Oh, and before I forget, after this game, this guy backed out of the lobby. It just sums up the Call of Duty community right there in a nutshell. Simple as that. Like when somebody meets some resistance or they meet another good player, most of them will leave if they get their ass handed to them, or whatever the case may be. Most of them leave. Or if they're on a team and then they lose one game, guess what? They leave. Like they can win like 10 games in a row and then finally you win one and then all of a sudden, wham bam, they leave. Man, that's one of the reasons why I think stats shouldn't even belong in this game, because it forces people to play a certain way. That is just an IQ below 50 to me. In other words, I think that's absolutely stupid, you know, to play a certain way for stats. Play the game, have fun. But yeah, I thought this was pretty interesting. He even challenged me to a 1v1, and people still think 1v1s, you know, mean anything in this game. They really don't. It's pretty rare. I mean, the only thing that truly matters in terms of, like, if you want to get competitive, go play competitive, go play league play or arena or what it's called, and then work your way up to the pros. You know, that's one of the reasons why I like to watch pros play, you know, because when you truly see skill there, because you see people that are skilled on one team and people that are skilled on another team. You see communication, you see gun skill. Everybody almost uses the same classes, you know, because, well, pretty much, you know, the pros know what's good and what's not, and you know, for certain game types, they'll use certain classes. So it is what it is. So I just thought it was funny, and I thought this video was somewhat interesting and entertaining, but yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Sometimes the community just doesn't cease to amaze, and what I was saying was in the other game also, before I forget, in the other game after that, somebody else sent me a message. I'm like, oh great, more hate mail, and he was like, hey, good game, and I was like, oh crap, no hate mail, yay. So I guess I got a bittersweet experience for today. But anyway, guys, that's enough for this video. I'm going over time here, so I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like the video, let me know, and if you don't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better, and I'll catch you guys very soon on the next video. See ya.